Well, all there. All right. And good morning, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on wherever you are in the world and whenever you are listening to this. And we are now streaming live on Facebook. I am Lisa Warner. I'm the author of The Simplicity of Self-Healing and the creator of Solution Sunday, because the soul is the solution. And I am here today with my good friend and dot mandala artist, Jaime Merrithew. I am so excited. Good morning, Jaime. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Good morning, Lisa. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm so excited to hang out with you for the next hour. I love it.
This is going to be so much fun. Jaime and I had this idea for everyone that, we are in this massive shift of consciousness right now on the planet, and we are moving from an old paradigm to a new paradigm. And it is up to us to create the world that we want to live in. Right now, the world out there is really not so much the world that we really want to be living in. And heaven on earth is ours, but we have to create it, which means that we have to vision it. The only way we can create anything is to vision it first. We have to be able to imagine it. Our imagination is our greatest tool. And as any artist will tell you, imagination is everything in art. So today, Jaime and I had this idea that we're all, you and me and Jaime, we're all going to get together and we're going to start visioning the new earth, heaven on earth. And as we vision, we're going to be gathering the energy, and Jaime is going to be capturing this energy in a beautiful dot mandala for us. I'm so excited. It is going to be beautiful and gorgeous and fun. Is everybody ready for some fun?
Let's do it.
Great. So if you are watching on Facebook, drop a comment in the chat. Let us know that you're here. And I see there are a few people. I can see that there are some people watching, but I can't tell who's on. So anyway. So Jaime, why don't you, before we get going, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself? And
Sure. Well, I live about an hour and a half east of Toronto. I've never really considered myself an artist up till this point in my life, so it's a very new thing to be in. But when I look back on my life, I've always been creating something. I played with polymer clay. I do a lot of crocheting, some macrame. So I've always wanted my hands in stuff, but I never found that thing that really made me want to do it every single day, that got me excited to get out of bed. And I went through some pain and some loss. And to be brutally honest, it completely broke me. I didn't care if I woke up the next day. I would kind of wake up in the morning and go, oh, I'm still here. All right, guess we're doing this again today. But there was I didn't care. If I went to sleep and didn't wake up, I just didn't care if that happened. And I was laying in bed one morning, scrolling through Facebook as you do, and I came across a piece of content from a gentleman named Kyle Cease. And I started just devouring his content. I started to feel so good. And I started to, just in a 2.5 minute trailer on one of his videos, I thought, like, if anybody can help me feel better, it's going to be this guy. I don't need him to fix me, but I just need to feel better. And watching him makes me feel better. And as I started really listening to everything that he said, one of the things he talked about a lot is, what are the things in your life that are tens? What are those things that anytime you think of them, they always make you feel good, or things that make you excited that you want to try? And I really struggled with that at first, because I was just at such a low point. I was like, there's nothing. So then his suggestion was just kind of start, do some Pinterest searches, just keep your eyes open. And when something does kind of speak to you, listen for that and try some stuff. And on his Facebook group, there was a woman who had posted and celebrating that she just finished teaching her very first mandala drawing workshop. And as soon as I saw it, I there's very few things in my life that I can equate back to that feeling of just, oh, I want to do that. And even more than that, it's like, oh, I can do that. I never even occurred to me that I couldn't do it. So I just grabbed all of my paper. So I started drawing mandalas. And then of course you get into the Pinterest searches, and that's when dot mandalas came up. And that has been completely life-changing. So I've been doing the dot mandalas for about 2 years now. And at first it was just for fun, but then of course you get friends and family telling you, you should do this. And all I kept thinking is, yeah, I want to. I don't want to do what I was doing before. This is what I want to do every day. And I know that maybe I could help some other people figure out what their 10s are too, and try and help them go through that. And heaven forbid, maybe even just give them a 10. Maybe they want to try this and I can walk them through and teach them what I know. So I now live on a farm with my friends. I live in a camper on their farm. The idea is to eventually do a little tiny house. And I paint all day, every day, except for the admin stuff, the super fun admin stuff of the business. But it's my healing. It's completely, I completely credit this art form for just making me happy to be alive. Really.
That's amazing. And we can see a few of your artworks in the back behind you there, and all those beautiful colors that you use. Oh
Here's a
my
little piggy
gosh.
bank that I just did. I don't know if you can see the design on them.
Look at that. Oh my gosh. It's
I'm so
amazing.
excited to do this painting. I've got a 10 by 10 wood panel prepped and ready to go. But I just put another coat on it before we got on the phone. So it'll be dry and ready to start painting on in a few minutes. And I'm really excited to see what comes out of this. I always wing it when I'm doing my paintings. At most I'll plan out some colors, but I don't usually plan out the designs or anything like that. And even today, I've got an idea of color, but I have a feeling that they'll kind of morph a little bit as we talk. So I'm really excited to see how this turns out.
Me too. So I see we have Delbert and Tanya and Bonnie on with us this morning. Bonnie's an artist. I know that. This is awesome. So and Delbert, he's an artist, but a different type of artist. He's an artist with teeth. He's a dentist, and he's a really good,
amazing,
good sculptor with teeth. So, and Michelle Ford, yeah, yay, Michelle, you're on. I was hoping you'd be on this morning. Michelle is also a beautiful artist in her own right. So we've got some artists coming on this morning. Woo-hoo! Awesome, awesome, awesome. And some powerful ones at that. So let's get this show on the road and let's start visioning. So we can draw the energies together for Jaime to feel into these energies so she can capture these energies into her dot mandala this morning. So let's take a few minutes and let's just gather ourselves together and close our eyes. Take a few nice deep breaths. And let's vision heaven on earth. If this earth, this beautiful, gorgeous planet Earth that we live on, this earth with the deep blue oceans, all of the colorful fish, the coral reefs, the mountains, the snow-capped peaks like Mount Everest, the Himalayas, the waters, the rivers, the lakes, the streams, the rainforests, the savannas, the deserts, all of the flora and fauna, all of the amazing plants and animals that live on this gorgeous planet with us. If we were all living in peace and harmony, prosperity, well-being for all, where we were all allowed to be ourselves, following and expressing our passions, just like Jaime, finding something that she loves and just doing that every day, expressing her creativity, her passion, her joy into these most amazing mandalas. What's your passion? What's your joy? Even if you don't know what that is right now, what would it be like if you were just living in passion and joy? Not worrying about, is it okay for me to do this? Is it okay for me to express what's in my soul? What if we were all free to express what was in our souls? And what if that love, that joy, that passion spread all across the planet? If every human was allowed to express their true soul's passions, what would this earth be like? How would we live in peace and harmony with each other, with Mother Earth, with the plant kingdoms, the animal kingdoms? What if, by each and every one of us tapping in to our own inner light, the light of our soul, allowing that soul to come through, instead of trying to operate from the thinking mind and trying to figure out our lives? What if we could allow that thinking mind to relax, to let go, to open, and to allow the wisdom of our soul, the passions of our soul, the love that we are as souls to flow through? What if we could simply channel our lives from our souls and allow the wisdom of our soul to take precedence and start operating as the beautiful angelic beings of light that we truly are? What if we could live in joy, enjoying ourselves every day, enjoying being ourselves? How would that change things? How would that heal things? If you enjoyed being yourself every day, how much joy would your cells be in every day? And how would that translate into your optimum health? There's a direct correlation between living your soul's passion and your health. And when we get the thinking mind out of the way, and we allow the wisdom of the soul to shine through, and we turn our lights back on and start living from our passions and our joys and let our light shine, we change this planet. And this is how we bring heaven to earth. So let's gather up your best vision of heaven on earth. What does that feel like? How much light, how much joy, how much fun? As we gather this energy, let's hold this vision of heaven on earth for each and every one of us. Even though all of our visions will be slightly different, the energy is the same. So let's hold this energy throughout this conversation so that Jaime can put it into a beautiful dot mandala for us. And when you're ready, let's come back into our conversation, but staying in this energy of heaven on earth, allowing life to be fun and free and joyful. Jaime, did you get some ideas? Did some images come through?
I did. It was everything, all of my self-control to not kind of jump out of it and turn around and grab some paint colors. So I'm going to do that right now while we're talking, because there's a couple I want to make sure I have. Yeah.
I love that you're wearing all those colors today. It's beautiful.
I know. I figure, you know what, it's time to embrace and jump into my rainbow romper and pull some inspiration from it, because this is what I want to do in my vision of the new earth. I'm wearing bright, comfy clothes that I can move and I feel good about myself in, and that flow and that just make me feel good. And so it was it was fitting that today was the day that I looked, I'm like, I think I'm gonna wear that today. It's the first time I've ever worn this little jumper. So it's been calling to me for a while. So now I listened to it, and I knew now it was waiting for today.
There you go. Wow. Yeah. All kinds of firsts today.
I know.
This is exciting.
Fun.
Awesome. Oh, we have our other Michelle on. Woo-hoo. Michelle the healer. Beautiful. Wow. So what is it about the dot mandalas in particular, like these designs that are so precise in so many ways, but yet also so free-flowing?
I love symmetry. And I remember that when I was going through art class, I'm just going to start drawing my guidelines while we're talking. I hope that's okay.
Absolutely.
This is when, I'm excited to jump into it. I'm like, I can't even sit and focus and talk. I got to do two things at once. When I was in high school, I remember I really liked symmetry. Like even just going and buying coloring books, I didn't want the pictures of nature and people and animals and everything. I wanted those crazy geometric repetitive shapes that are like a kaleidoscope. I always loved that sort of stuff. And when I would make that stuff, I was always told that wasn't art, that's doodling, that symmetry, there's nothing in there. And then when I saw this, and I saw that it not only satisfied that symmetry part of me, because I love symmetry. I feel so good when I'm in and surrounded by that symmetry and recognizing those patterns, that I saw that there was not only that was going to be satisfied, but that there were endless possibilities of what I could do with it when it came to color, and I could play with it and everything. And I think that's probably one of my favorite things about the dot mandalas is there's no rules, right? It's all about experimentation. Some things work out really, really well, and some things are absolute garbage. And it's because I get clarity from all of that, right? I try something, I try it 2 or 3 times. I'm like, do I really want to master this skill for this particular type of design, or is it just not for me? So it's really taught me how to kind of tune into that. But the symmetry is such a comfortable place, and to see all of these colors and how actually very simple it is to do this artwork. It's really not that difficult. And there's so many people that think that they can't do it. And I can't wait to tell them all that that's just not the case. If you want to do it, you do it.
That's beautiful. And I love that you don't, like, it's not, if you do something and it doesn't turn out, like, you don't beat yourself up over it. And, there's really, it's just all experience. In life, we're taught that, we have good experiences and bad experiences. And we're so afraid to make mistakes. in growing up in school, you got the big red check mark and, the negatives and, big bad things. You made a mistake. This is terrible. And it's drilled into us like, oh my gosh, like we start being afraid to make mistakes. And I think that's a beautiful message, that you can make something that's total crap. And it's like,
oh, well, and it's funny that you mentioned that, because one of the distinct memories that I have from growing up, this was back in the days where I'm showing my age, where we had grade 13 here in Ontario. No. So we went through 5 years of high school. And I remember coming home after taking my grade 13 advanced calculus exam and getting my mark back. And I got 99% on my grade 13 calculus exam. And I was stoked. I was like walking around like my shit didn't stink. I was smug as hell, going 99% on grade 13. This is awesome. And the first question that was asked of me was, what question did you get wrong? You were so close to 100. And I'm like, what about the other 99% that I did great? And then it was, oh, no, you still did good. But, if you tried your best, you probably could have gotten 100. So it was not only this immeasurable place to get to, it became the benchmark of, if you don't get perfect, it doesn't matter if you think you tried your best. I know you're capable of it. So what you think you did doesn't matter. I know what you're capable of. So if you don't get perfect, I know that means you didn't try hard enough. And this has really helped me with that, because I can see that I am trying, and some of it still turns out like garbage, and that's okay. And it's not even that it's garbage. It's not what I wanted. Right. And that kind of even ties into creating for yourself instead of creating for what you think other people want. And we all, especially when business is in there, we all do that. What are they going to like? What are they going to engage with? What are they going to spend money on? How am I going to pay my bills? And all of those spiral and snowball thoughts get in there. But at the end of the day, when I'm not painting for myself, it doesn't turn out right. So it's very important information for me when I paint something that doesn't turn out well, or am able to recognize I'm painting for myself and it's not about how it turns out. Right? That's another big one.
I love that. Yeah, because it's so true. We are so taught to try to please everybody else and try to figure out what everybody else is going to accept, or what they're going to like, or what they're going to want.
Right? It's taken me 45 years to even figure out who the hell I am. And now I'm supposed to be able to massively predict what every person on the planet is going to want to buy and tap into that.
Right?
There's no way.
Exactly. But when, and it was the same for me in my business too. When I first started out, it was like, well, what is it that is, what's okay for me to say? What's it, what do people want to hear? What do, blah, blah. They're not going to believe what I'm saying, or, whatever it is. And finally, it was just like, I can't do this. It just, it's not working. Like, I have to speak what's in my soul. And I speak the stuff that I know, like the stuff that I have direct experience with. So like, I know beyond the shadow of a doubt, it's not philosophy. I know that I've had past lives as philosophers, and, and this time around, I thought, oh, what am I going to study in college? Because I had to go to college for what, I don't know, but I had to go. And
so because that's what smart kids do, right? Like,
right. And I was like, oh my gosh, what do I study?
You want to be successful.
Exactly. And it's like, oh, well, maybe philosophy or psychology. And I'm like, that's all just conjecture. It's not, I don't want to study the mind. I want to get out of my mind. Like, I want to be in my soul. Like, I don't want to, and I don't want philosophy, because who the hell cares about that? I want actual visceral knowledge. Like, I want experience. I want to know how the universe works. I want to know why I'm here on this planet. I want to know what the bigger picture is. Like, that's what I want to know. Of course, they don't teach that in college. Like, I want to go to the modern day mystery school. Like, I want to know what the universe is all about.
Right? And they don't teach that in school because that doesn't produce the kind of citizen that they are looking for.
Absolutely. Yes.
Right? And there are lots of professions that need to go to school, lots of them. If I'm going to go to a medical doctor, I want one that's at least studied something and isn't just the first day on the job, right? I want a dentist who has worked on teeth before. I want to know that these people know what they're doing, but putting that all on some kind of university degree and saying if it's not a university degree or you have to prove yourself somehow, experience counts for so much. That's how education started in the beginning, is just teaching each other what we've learned, right? And it's the isolation of all of that in the system too, right? It's you study for your test, don't help that guy because that's going to take away your time from studying, instead of just working together and saying we can all learn this stuff and we can all do well. It's just like people starting businesses. There's enough room for all of us here, right? And there's enough to go around for us all to be successful and to thrive, because our definition of thriving is different for each person. So we don't have to measure against each other.
Exactly.
A
You know,
lot.
and when if we're trying to measure against each other or trying to one up somebody else or be more popular or whatever, it's never going to work, you know. And I love this analogy. Well, this real life experience for you, Jaime, is, you know, it's so tangible. It's like, as soon as I started painting what I love to paint, then I can just simply express myself, and what comes out is going to be so much better than anything that I'm trying to figure out. And Jamie's artwork is so beautiful and precise, and she is so masterful at this. And it's that way because she is painting from her soul. She is painting what is coming through. So instead of trying to paint from her mind and try to figure out what it is she's supposed to paint, she's allowing that soul to come through. And we said, Michelle Ford, she says, as an artist, I can so relate to this. Learning to create for myself, throwing out the rules has been so freeing for me.
Yes. And I think that that's how we get to a level of mastery in our own skills too, right? Because when we can see where we're going, when we give ourselves that permission to screw things up and say, if I paint absolute garbage today, it's fine. But at the same time, recognizing too that mastery only comes from practice and experience, right? I can read everything in a book. I've read a whole ton of books, never implemented anything of it. So it's not really, it's not something that's become part of my day-to-day thing. But when you enjoy the practice, your skill is going to develop significantly faster because you're going to want to practice, right? So if you can find that thing that you enjoy and that you're excited to learn more about every day, and you're excited to get in there and get your hands dirty every day, it will blow you away when you drive that, when the fuel for that is, I like it and I enjoy it and it makes me feel good. The skill that develops is bigger and faster. And then your confidence goes up. Like, it's amazing how much it feeds from something that is really so simple that so many people don't even believe is possible. Like, they're not even considering the option of finding something they enjoy doing because they're just so low. And from being where that was, I get that, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah, I love that you say that. You know, I grew up as a figure skater, and it was something that I just loved. I loved going to the rink. I loved being able to express myself. It was really the only place that I could feel like myself. I could just, it was just me and my skates, you know, and the ice. And it was like, I could try anything I wanted to try, and I would push myself, and each time I would try to make the skill better and better. And I got really masterful at figure skating, and it was so rewarding, but at the same time, just like you were saying, I would do something, or go home from the rink, and you know my mom would say, "Oh, so how was skating today?" And I would say, "Oh, my friend landed her double toe loop today. It was so cool." "Oh, well, did you land one today too?" I was like, "Oh, like
No.
I'm working on it. It's like the skill that I'm developing now. She landed it today. It was awesome. Like, I'm getting it." Like, there was always that version of me that was better than everything that I was doing. Just like you were saying earlier, it's like, I got that
Yes.
99%. Oh, well, where's the other 1%? Like, there was always that better version of me that I was trying to live up to, but I could never figure it out. I always fell short of that better version of me.
And it's tiring, and it has such a huge impact on self-worth and valuing your contribution, valuing what you're putting out into the world, and just the self-confidence to put yourself out, right? That it's such a huge impact, such a huge impact.
Oh my gosh. Like, by the time every time I fell short, I got littler and littler and littler and littler until my self-esteem was about the size of an ant. Like, I could barely function in life for a long time, which is why I ended up with all the health problems that I ended up with, because my self-esteem was so low. I had so little energy running through my body and my being. I was terrified of speaking my truth, because all the stuff that I knew to be true by that time, when I started my spiritual awakening, because like all I ever wanted to know was, how does the universe work? Like, I just needed to know, what's the bigger picture? Why am I here? Like, why did I choose this miserable lifetime? Like, why would I come for this? Like, this is insane. I wanted those answers. And by the time I started getting those answers, like, I realized that I was about this big, teeny tiny me. And it was, trying to, scrounge my way out of the tar pit, just covered in all of everybody else's gunk.
Do you find now that you understand exactly why you're here now, and it's not an awful time to be here? Like, I've gotten to that point where I'm like, this is an amazing time to be alive. I'm so glad that I'm here to see this, and I'll do whatever my part is to contribute to it. It's such an interesting time to be alive now, and I can't wait to see what changes. Right? I'm ready. I'm like, yeah, what's next? Let's go. Right? And it's so much easier to get out of bed when you feel that.
Absolutely. Yeah. For me, it started out when I started my business. It started out really slow because my self-esteem was still really low, and I was still really worried about, saying the wrong thing and stirring the pot and offending anybody, or, and now I realize, I'm not here to perpetuate illusions. It's the illusions that have had us trapped and stuck as humanity. And there are mass hypnotic illusions that are happening right now. And the only way for us as humanity to move through them is to have people who start to wake up from the hypnosis and start to speak truths about what's actually going on, because we have all been lulled into complacency as to, listen to the experts. The experts know everything. Well, guess what? The experts have been lied to as well. All of humanity, we have all been lied to for so many thousands of years that we just simply assume that life is the way it is, and it's not the way it is at all. We have so much more power. We have never been empowered to know how the universe works or what those universal laws are. Because as soon as we learn those universal laws, we can start creating for ourselves, and we start to unlimit ourselves, and we become powerful creator beings. And the people who have been in charge of running the world, who are the ones that have had all the power for eons of time, they don't want to give up the power. They don't want people to be empowered. This is why when Jesus was walking the earth, he was a real threat to those who were in power, but he was empowering people to say, hey, you're so much more than you think you are. Here, this is how it goes. Here's how you heal yourself. Here's how you empower yourselves. Here's how you live a really great life. And I was like, they did not want to hear those messages.
And you think about that when you hear people think of, I wish Jesus was around today. I'm like, we would have killed him by now, just like we did the last time. We would have. We're not showing a great track record there of being open-minded to perspectives like his, right? I'd like to think there are more of us that understand that it wasn't about that really understand who he was, right? I have a whole different perspective on God and Jesus now than I ever did. And it's because of perspectives like learning about all of this stuff, right? And learning about the fact that we are all one. We're all children of God. We're all infinitely powerful beings. We all have the ability to stand up and also recognizing that Jesus was human, right? He did dumb shit sometimes. We all do, right? And that there's no omnipotent being that is here on the planet that is just the beacon of perfection of this ideal. There's stuff that can be taken from every single person that we can come in contact with. We all have the ability to teach those little pieces that creates and contribute so much to the whole.
Absolutely. And I think that whole story, that's what's been happening to all of the real great leaders, the ones who have been speaking from the soul, speaking from the truth, speaking about our power. They have all been snuffed out along the way, thinking about, Joan of Arc and Jesus and the witches and, all of these people, the Native Americans, everybody just gets snuffed out. And, there's still a lot of that through the light worker community, because we all know what happens. But now at least there are so many of us on the planet that they can't snuff us all out anymore. It's not time to be snuffed out. It is time for us to be the light on the candlestick, and they can't snuff us all out.
I'm not going anywhere.
Exactly.
I got stuff to do.
Absolutely. Being ourselves. And good morning, Kinsey, and good morning, Keith. Keith, we are one, pretending to be separate. We are all master teachers pretending to be students. Every answer is inside of us. Absolutely. Every single answer. And look here now. Now, Jamie's got it all mapped out. Tell us what you're doing.
I'll show you the colors that I have. Whether they'll all come into play or not, I'm not sure, but these are the ones that I have mixed. So I've got some white and some pale yellow, kind of a bright fluorescent. Let me see if I can turn this light around so you can actually see the colors a little bit better. So this kind of orange, a couple of greens, some teals, some purples, pinks, and fuchsias. I even have a really dark red in there, and of course some gold. So I'm going to kind of jump in and just start painting, if that's okay with you, while we're still talking.
For sure.
All right.
Yes. Wow. So now, you obviously have the image in your mind now?
No, I still don't. No.
Great.
So I have a couple pieces in my head. Like I'm picturing very like in my head, when I close my eyes and I envision the new earth, I think of brightness, I think of happiness, I think of sparkle and little tendrils all over the place, and just kind of magical feeling, and very very whimsical and almost fairy-ish. So I think that's where I'm the concept that I'm thinking of is very glow in the dark with some sparkle and some brightness. Like if I can kind of create that illusion, that's where my head's going.
I love that, glow in the dark, because we are here to glow in the dark, so that when we glow and shine our own light, that darkness disappears. So that is part of this new earth plan, this agenda, which is simply love and the ability to shine our light. I love that.
And there's the awe factor too, right? I think that one of the things that I certainly didn't used to do anywhere near enough, and I probably still don't do it enough, is look at the magic that's right in front of us, right? People are looking for magic in all these different places, but Abraham Hicks talks about this a lot. Like if you woke up tomorrow and gravity was gone, you'd notice, right? Why is nobody talking about how amazing and awesome gravity is? Why is nobody talking about, hey, how are you doing today? I'm great. Did you know that my body breathes and I don't have to consciously think about it? My body's pumping blood for me right now and I don't have to do anything. Like there's so much, like the trees are giving me the air to breathe so that I'm here. Like we're watching, there's so much around us that's magic. And one of my favorite things in my paintings is to get to the point where I look at it and kind of go, wow, right? And it just jumps out at you and it feels like it's just pulsing and moving almost. So now I have to pick another color.
I love that. And your paintings are so bright and vibrant, and they pulse. I love that idea.
Yay! That makes me so happy that comes across.
Yeah, I mean, there's
now
so
decisions
much
have to be made.
So much depth in them. When you look at it, with the size of all the dots are so different, and you've got swirls, and you can just look into, and the background color allows for more depth. I think it's just amazing.
Oh, thank you. I'm so glad that comes across. So glad, because that's what I hope for. So I'm actually just mixing a different yellow here.
Beautiful. So now
and I know I want it to be very delicate. So I'm going to start with really tiny, tiny dots. So I'm going to try and get in here as close as I can without getting in my own way.
Cool. So now you teach this art as well.
Yes, I do. I do free tutorials every Saturday. They used to be on my Facebook page, but they're actually going to be on Instagram going forward, I think, just for some internet issues. So every Saturday from 1 to 3 Eastern, I jump on, and sometimes we have specific topics that people are requesting that they want me to go over. But a lot of times it's just, this is the project I'm working on. This is the thought process behind it. I really would much rather the techniques. There's so many ways you can learn the techniques themselves. And there's so much great content out there. I want to teach my thought process behind it, right? Why I do the things the way that I do, how I come up with my ideas, how I come up with my designs, or like walking through something like this and saying, okay, this is what I'm thinking and feeling at this point. So this is what's jumping out at me, and kind of putting that mindfulness in the forefront, so that when people are creating, they're not just looking to copy a design and create something pretty, but they understand how to go through and create their own thing and interpret it and put their own spin on things.
I love that. That is so cool.
Thank you. I have a lot of fun with it. I love teaching. I want to get into in-person workshops one of these days. I don't know when that's going to happen, but I would really like to get into that at some point. So for now, I do that on Saturdays, and then the recordings of those go into my tutorial library that you can access through my Patreon. My Patreon's $13 a month, and right now there's 30 tutorials, and new ones get added every single week. So it's a huge huge library of all of the 2-hour tutorials that I've done.
Wow, that is impressive.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah,
that.
I had a little bit of a heart attack when I realized how many tutorials were in there. I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize there were that many.
I'm gonna I'll pop the link in the chat here for anybody
Oh,
that
thank you.
is interested in her Patreon. So it's patreon.com/Mandala Love Affair. I love that name.
I have a lot of friends that have a hard time with the fact that I am single. So it was kind of a tongue in cheek. I'm like, no, I'm having my own love affair. I'm perfectly happy over here. Perfectly happy. I've got everything I need. My love affair with my painting is what fills me up anyway. I am good.
I love that. And, you know, that is so true because everybody, so many people think that they need somebody else to fulfill them.
Mhm.
And we have the ability to fulfill ourselves. And when we can fulfill ourselves, we fulfill ourselves, our cells get happy. And then when we do attract someone else, like we're attracting them from our wholeness, not from our brokenness.
Yes. That's who I want to meet. I want to meet the person who is ready for the version of me that I am now. Right? That's what I want to meet. And I'm sure that he exists out there somewhere. And I don't need him to come into my life anytime soon. I'm happy. I'm good. And I know that if I keep focusing on where I'm happiest and my own thriving, then I reduce the number of steps that I have to go through before he comes into my life. Do you know what I mean?
I love that. Yes, that's very, very wise.
Yeah, I always kind of say to my friends, I'm like, it bothers you more than it bothers me that I'm single. You get that, right? Like, it doesn't bother me at all. I'm good. I'm over here with my paints and my cat, and I'm happy. That's all I need.
Beautiful. So as you're putting these dots on, are you
Yeah.
you're just kind of going with the flow? So you don't have the big picture in mind. You're allowing it to
No.
unfold on its own.
Yeah. So the thing that's in my head right now is doing a bit of a color grade, like an ombre, to go from the gold and the yellow to some darker greens, and then start to flesh out probably some floral colors. I think that I take a lot of inspiration from the idea of plants and flowers, because that's another thing that I would have in my new world. That's what I want. I want flowers everywhere that I can walk through my garden and smell them and sit with them and be with them and enjoy their energy. So I tend to paint with a lot of colors that I would want to see in my garden, I think.
Beautiful. And to me, this looks like the sun already.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that I can kind of create some contrast with the greens compared to like some blues and some pinks, and just see how I'm gonna mesh them all together. And then I have to decide too on what kind of design am I going to do? Like, how many of these concentric circles am I going to do before I start building the actual mandala pattern? Right. So, and that stuff, I just kind of feel it. I definitely don't plan like I'm going to do 4 rows and then I'm going to switch to this. It's just, I'm going to keep going until I feel like it's time for me to change it up and mix it up a little bit.
So that's really just true channeling, just allowing the energies to move you instead of trying to think it all out. This is the idea of living from the soul, allowing the wisdom and the energy to just simply flow through without having to try to pre-plan everything or figure it out or think it through all the time. That when we're allowing the rational, which is rational mind, which is really quite irrational, as we were talking about earlier, is that once we get that out of the way and allow the wisdom of the soul to flow through, then that's what comes out. And it's so much wiser than anything that the pre-programmed rational mind can come up with.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
So I'm going slightly darker green here, and I do the every other for partly for spacing. It helps me keep my spacing and helps me keep that symmetry. But I'm also going to do it because I'm going to add a little bit of different sizing here to make this green kind of look like it's reaching out into the flowers almost, or the flower colors that we'll get into.
Wow, this is fascinating. So anybody that's listening on the podcast part or just are not able to see, Jaime is doing dots. She's got her board, the black background that she's using, and then she is able to turn the board and making a beautiful circular pattern with her little. Now these are special paint brushes. Are they brushes or are they like sponges?
They're actually hard tools.
Ah.
So I'll show you. Oh, I was afraid that was going to happen. I'm using watercolor pencil crayon for my guidelines. And sometimes if they are laid down too thick, they can impact the shape and the size of the dots. So I'm going to just kind of coax this a little bit. See, I don't know if you could see it was kind of pinched in wherever it crossed the. You probably couldn't see that. That's one of my little obsessions.
This is why you're so good at what you do.
Well, these tools are like pencils. They're hard plastic, and they're all numbered. So they have a whole bunch of different sizes. Like I have really small ones that go up to really large ones.
Oh, wow.
And then I also use a combination of clay sculpture tools, or they're called nail dotting stylus tools. These tools that have the little metal balls on the end. And they help create some texture as well. There's a couple different techniques, some that I use these for, some that I use this for, depending on what it is, the element that I'm trying to kind of go forward with.
Wow.
So when I'm doing a bunch of dots that are all the same size, I use the one that's like a pencil. And then for the other ones, then I go in and add a lot of the tiny fine detail. So I probably should have erased some of my guidelines. So I'll go in here after and do that a little bit before I get too far gone. Because like I said, those lines, when I paint over top of them, they almost pinch the paint in a little bit on the sides. So I don't get the perfect circles like I like.
So Keith is saying, I was late. Did you show any completed mandalas at the top of the show?
We didn't, but I can show you.
Showed us a piggy bank that she had just recently finished.
Yeah. Most of my finished stuff is inside the house, unfortunately. I can show you this other wood panel though. Excuse me, that I did with some, this is all with swoops. And I'd never done one that was all swoops before. And I freaking love this one.
That one is so amazing.
There's a couple others that I've done that are like this with rainbow repeating colors, and they look so beautiful. They're inside because I poured resin on them to give them a harder coat and to really make the colors pop. This one's going to get resined as well. I just have some touch-ups to do.
That's spectacular. Love. And then
I'll bring out the piggy bank again. So that's the side of the piggy bank. Both sides are the same on that one. I apologize. I should have had some more finished stuff in here in the camper with me, but it's all in the house. I left it all there.
Yeah, everybody's saying how beautiful they are.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I did a market was it only last weekend? Might have been. So a lot of my stuff is packed up as well because I've been I'm like, I don't want to unpack. It's just going to stay in boxes for a while. I haven't had a lot of finished stuff around. So I wanted to build the green out to make sure that we could really see that as kind of the core of what we're doing here. And then I'm going to start going in with some color now, to start building out some of these petal designs. Now, oh, that one's too small. The hard part, and I think that this is with anything that you work on that you're passionate about, is being kind to yourself and reminding yourself that not everybody is going to see the things that you see. Our perspective is unique, and our perspective is so contingent on our relationship with what it is we're working on, right? It's why we may see mistakes that other people might never see. And like, I know that I've thrown out pieces where other people are like, why'd you throw that out? It was beautiful. I'm like, because I can't look at it. I can't handle it. So giving yourself some grace is another skill, really, that this art form allows me to practice anyway, of saying, you know what, I'm so close to it. I spend so much time an inch away from my piece. I'm going to see things that other people aren't going to see. Mm-hmm. And one of the best things that I do for myself that helps me is to take those steps back and be able to look at my piece from across the room and not look at it from so close. And I think that can help, you know, in a lot of different ways, you know, in a lot of different parts of our life, is how can we take that step back and look at where is our perspective coming from, right? Just the whole idea of I'm not my thoughts, I'm the one observing my thoughts. It's taking that step back. It's looking at myself from across the room and seeing, wow, everything's fine. It looks great, right? Instead of looking at it under a microscope and picking every single thing apart. And if you do that, you're never gonna get through. There's always gonna be new stuff that's gonna replace the stuff that takes your attention. There's always gonna be something that's gonna capture your attention when you look at things under a microscope.
Absolutely. Keith is saying it's a metaphor for life, eh? Other people see and notice the good things, not under a microscope.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make a decision.
We were talking about earlier about looking at our thoughts, becoming so obsessed with our thoughts that, mm-hmm. And you were talking about how it's easy to, you know, once you were able to start stepping away from your thoughts and realizing that you didn't need to think those thoughts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's like,
there's choice, right? And it's exercising the choice that's the work. And for me anyway, mm-hmm. Right? The work is recognizing I have a choice in this moment. I don't have to continue down this thought path. Where do I want to go? Where do I want to go with these thoughts? Right? And it's we're just remembering that I have that choice, that I don't have to stick with where I'm at all the time. I can go where I want to go in my thoughts.
Absolutely. And where we go in our thoughts, right, we end up going in our lives as well.
Yes. Well, and that's how we create, right? And I think that's when you start to understand that that's how we create is by listening and feeling our way through that sort of stuff. But that's intimidating at first, right? When you've been told your whole life that you have to be so concerned about what's going on around you and how and what you need to do to be successful, the idea of following your own feelings is a really scary thing to do.
Absolutely. Yeah, I certainly came across that when I found myself facing cancer and, you know, just was terrified. You know, my thoughts were all over the place. It was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? How did I let this happen to me? This is all my fault. And, blah, blah, is this going to kill me? What do I do? I don't want to do the stuff that they're telling me that I should do. The doctors say you have to do chemo or radiation or get body parts cut off or cut out. And I was like, wait a minute. Like, do I really have to go down that road? Like, I don't think so. I really, truly don't. But it's scary to have those independent thoughts. And it's like, but nobody else seems to think this way. Like, what do I do? I'm the only one that's thinking like this. This is a little weird.
Yeah, right. It's not the norm. It's not the kind of conversations that you have with your girlfriends over drinks at dinner, right? It's just not the kind of stuff that's commonplace. And when you start having these thoughts and they're taking over your mind, it's a scary thing to really relax and trust that you are doing what's right for you.
Absolutely. Yeah, because when you're thinking thoughts that are different than the mainstream thoughts, the people that are in those mainstream thoughts and have bought into all those mainstream thoughts fully, it's like they think that you're insane. Like they think you're crazy, and like they want the best for you. And it's like, well, this is what the authorities are telling us, and this is what we should do because this is what everybody does, and this is the standard. And if you don't do what the standard thing is, then you're risking your life. You're taking your life in your hands. And I was like, yeah, I am taking my life into my own hands, and like that's what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And
that's the hard part. And at the same time, not needing them to understand what we understand. They'll understand if and when they're ready. I'm just here to put this out there and let you know that there's a choice and there's another option of where to think. Like I go through that, with family where I'm like, I know I will tell you what I think and believe. But if you don't decide to take it in, if it doesn't resonate for you, that's okay. But I'm not going to change my mind back so that I match you to make you more comfortable either. You're in your path, but that doesn't mean I'm going to change where I'm at in my path.
Exactly. And if my path is making you uncomfortable, that's your deal. It's not my deal. Like,
yes,
nobody's path is anybody else's business, really. I mean, if you're on your path, good morning, Kathy. Thanks for hopping on. Our paths are all different, and our souls are so completely unique. We are each this amazing individual being. And we all have our own paths, and they're not all alike. And how boring life would be if all of our paths were exactly the same.
Right. I used to think, it's not my job to make you feel good about how I'm living my life.
Exactly. Delbert says, so precise, great hand-eye coordination, a great gift.
Oh, thank you. I hope that it's, if it doesn't make you want to do it yourself, if it is relaxing to watch, I hear that it's relaxing and calming to watch.
Absolutely.
So
yeah, I don't know if that I would have the patience to do it. Like, you've got just such an amazing skill. I'm super happy just to watch.
well, and that's a really good point to talk about, because what this has helped me learn is that patience is a skill that you have to practice and learn, just like any other skill. And patience in certain situations. I am not known. If you said to my friends, oh, she's so patient, they would laugh in your face. They're like, yeah, okay, sure. Who are you talking to? But when it comes to this, I am. So it ties back to that joy, right? If you're following the joy, the patience comes easy. So when you're trying different things to figure out what your tens are, the only thing that matters is do I want to keep trying this? Is it fun to try this? Did I enjoy myself enough in this first attempt that I want to try it again, regardless of what the outcome is? And if the answer is no, then that's okay. You don't have to force it, right? But if you can find the thing that you just say, I don't care if I never create anything that I can sell, or I don't care what the outcome is, the only reason I'm doing this is because I enjoy it. That is where there's so much information there for you, right? It gives you insight into how you actually want to feel on a day-to-day basis. You know, what are the core things that you are actually trying to feel in your life, right? Are you trying to feel freedom? Are you trying to feel accomplishment? There's all those things. There's so much information in everything that we do if we listen to what our body and our soul is telling us while we're doing it, right? Excuse me.
Absolutely. It's
All right.
like cooking too. Kathy is a chef, and same thing, cooking from the heart. It's amazing. Kathy says this is like the diamond art, only more spiritual, per the mandalas in 3D and beyond.
I love that. It's very similar to the diamond art, and I actually use that. I talk to people about that. I'm like, if you don't want to go and buy the paints and the tools and everything, maybe the repetition is what's good, right? It's very, very meditative, especially once you kind of sink into it. And again, when you're doing it for no other reason other than you're just enjoying it, and you can kind of get into that groove. It's one of those things that if you're enjoying it, hours can slip away very, very quickly. And it is my meditation. I can quiet my mind. I can give myself something to focus on that's incredibly benign. I'm not worrying about what's going on in the other areas of my life where there might be stresses and triggers and stuff, right? I can sink into this. And whatever that thing is for you, whether it's painting, drawing, writing, speaking, that, we all want to do different things, and different things give us that feeling. But the benefit of tapping into that feeling more often, I never expected, never in a million years did I expect it. I was looking for relief, and I got so much more than relief. So much more. I got a purpose.
I love that. And now so many people are benefiting from that. Their ability to learn how to do this, their ability to purchase your products and have these beautiful things in their homes so that they can enjoy this. I love that.
I hope that anybody who has my work in their home, that it makes them, it just makes them happy, makes them feel a little lighter from whatever it is they're going through. That's all I could ever want.
Beautiful. I'm going to pop into the chat the Redbubble link.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so this is Jamie's online store. You can get Jamie's artwork on calendars, on mugs, on piggy banks, on all different kinds of things. What you tell them, way
so
better.
Redbubble is a spot where I don't sell my hand painted stuff. It's all photos of hand painted art or digital art that I've created. It'll go on. I've got clocks on there with dot mandalas. I've got shower curtains, floor cushions, journals, water bottles, cell phone cases. Pretty much anything you could ever imagine is on there. And then I also have a website where I have my hand painted stuff too. So the Redbubble is, I think there's 22 designs. I think I have a little over 500 products to choose from on the Redbubble store. And there's some really cool stuff in there. It was really fun to set up. So let's see here. What am I going to do? I'm going to do orange.
And I'm going to pop into the chat your link for your mandala love affair. So
thank
you
you.
can find your hand painted things.
Yeah. I have some tutorials on there as well. There is the Patreon for the membership to the entire library, but I do have some individual tutorials available on my website as well. And I'm going to be starting to do paint with me workshops in the next couple of weeks, where you can, buy a ticket to a Zoom and come and sit and paint with me, and I can give you real-time feedback, and we can go through different projects together and stuff.
Oh, how fun.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I have a Facebook group as well. It's called Mandala Addicts by Mandala Love Affair. And my Facebook is also Mandala Love Affair. I'm Mandala Love Affair on all social media. TikTok is my main one. So you'll see a lot of TikTok videos reposted onto Facebook and Instagram. But keep an eye on there, because I will quite often post schedules of upcoming classes or upcoming live streams that I'm going to do. And that's where I give updates for my free Saturday tutorials as well.
Wow, that's amazing. Hopefully we'll get some people to take you up on that, because this is just such a fascinating art form and meditation form as well. It's just mesmerizing.
If you're someone who likes to count and likes the symmetry, then there's definitely the potential to find this. When I first started painting these, I saw a lot of people painting stones. And the first thing I thought of is I would want to hold one of those stones in my hand, especially if there was a lot of texture. I'd want to hold one of those stones in my hand while I'm meditating, because if I want to, time my breaths or slow down my breaths or repeating a mantra or an affirmation, all of the little bumps on the stone can help you kind of slow yourself. And again, give yourself something completely innocuous to focus on, right? Feeling the weight of the stone in your hand. So I always gravitated to the artists who didn't call their stones mandala stones. They called them meditation stones. That just felt more real to me for some reason.
I love that. I bet they do feel amazing in your hands.
Yeah, some of the ones that have a lot of texture and a lot of bumps feel really, really good.
Boy, I
Depends
bet.
on the paint that I use, right? I want to get into the more heavy-bodied paints so that I can focus more on texture and not just the illusion of texture. But that'll come in time. That's a whole new skill set to learn how to mix those paints and use them properly. And there's a lot of things I want to try, but there's also that filter in my head going, you're fine. Like, you're not aching for something different to do. So let's just keep going for a while. All right. I'm going to throw some hot pink in here, because why not?
Well, it is coming along so amazingly well. It is beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Thank you.
I know we've gone like an hour and 15 minutes. So I want to.
Have we already?
We have. Amazing, right?
Oh, wow.
So I want to make sure that we're honoring everybody who has taken the time to pop on with us this morning and to watch what's going on here and take part in this beautiful visioning the new earth, so that we can really start holding this energy, because it's up to us to create heaven on earth. Heaven is not a place, it's a state of being, and it is absolutely possible for us to live in heaven on this beautiful planet. But if we keep going down and doing the same things that we've always done, we're going to keep getting what we've always got. So it's up to us to start visioning a brand new earth, so that we can create from our souls passions, joys, inspirations, and change this world with our light. So thank you everyone for joining us this morning. Michelle Ford says, I would so love to see the completed mandala. Maybe post it in our group when finished. Absolutely. So now that we are getting to wrapping up here, what we're going to do is we're going to continue to post updated photos as Jaime completes this beautiful mandala. And we may even hop back on a couple more lives just for fun, just to see how this keeps going. And then after she finishes this, then we'll auction it off to let somebody actually get this beautiful mandala so that they can have this energy in their home. So stay tuned for all of this. We have all kinds of beautiful Bonnie says, thank you, Lisa and Jaime. Keith, we've got lots of smiles and angel faces.
Yay! Thank you,
Yeah.
everybody. And if you have any questions for me about any of this, please don't hesitate to reach out to me on social media. I don't have all the answers, but I will give you the answers that I do have if it's helpful for you.
Beautiful. We love that about you, Jaime. Jaime is one of the most beautiful, open-hearted, kind individuals ever.
Oh, Lisa.
Michelle Falkowski, I think you should have it, Lisa. Well, Keith says, thank you both. Thank you from Michelle Ford. Beautiful. So we will definitely keep you updated on this process and throughout this week. So Jaime, is there anything you would like to say before we sign off today?
I just hope that you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope that every day that you are joy just for no other purpose, that's success. And I wish that for all of you. I hope you experience as much joy as humanly possible on any given day. And thank you for being so welcoming to me to come on this. And I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Lisa, thank you so much for the invitation. I love the time I get to spend with you.
Likewise, right back at you. Keith says, let each day you live be filled with the love you deserve. Thank you so much for that, Keith. And Keith is our beautiful special guest at least once a month here on Solution Sunday. So thank you for hopping on with us today, Keith. We can't wait to see you again soon. And Jaime, thank you so much for sharing your heart and your art with us this morning and helping us to vision New Earth and to let us know that it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay for us to be who we truly are. It's okay for us to follow our passions. Tanya, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
I'll send you a picture later today because I'm going to work on this more this afternoon. So look for an updated photo on more progress on this later today. You won't have to wait a couple days for that.
Beautiful. We'll keep you all updated every day this week until it gets all done, and then we will have a little sale so somebody can take this home with them. So thank you all so much. Thank you, Jaime. And
thank you.
Until next week, everybody, envision the new earth that you want to live. Find your soul's passions. Start tapping into what you love, what you deserve. Start speaking from your soul, because it's through the soul that we start to change this whole planet and take this game to a whole new level where we can all live in heaven on earth, letting our soul's light shine bright. So until next week, thank you so much. Have a beautiful week.